Face of a Clown in Storytown. You may have guessed what the overall theme of this is by the title. If not, you will. Clowns have never sat well with me, and is the case for many I have learnt along the way. There may be various reasons for this, as the list of references below may reveal, but there is a crossover for me into pantomime dames and other garish forms of entertainment, which use an overly exaggerated version of something, often in a stereotypical way, for, entertainment. But I have never found the representation of a woman in these situations to ever be appealing or even funny. I cringe at panto stuff, but understand because of times past that apparently men were cast in the female roles for those things because women weren't allowed on stage. Don't get me wrong, when done correctly, men in drag or as dames can be hilarious and very on point. Some of my favourites being Monty Python, Kenny Everett and Lily Savage. So I decided it must be something else I am not enjoying about it. Something not as obvious and which wasn't funny. The recent Storytime debacle going on has made me think about it, and what it is that I personally don't like or find comfortable about it all, to revisit the theme as it seems remarkably similar in the way it is being presented. Just a bit of fun for kids. Firstly, I personally see no reason why you would need to dress up for Storytime, unless the outfit was appropriate to the story, i.e. princess story equals princess dress, dragon story, dragon outfit, relative to the activity. And wouldn't it be more fun to have the children also engage in dress up? After all, they enjoy it the most, don't they? Children can be very easily distracted, and if they have something visual to look at, kind of demanding their attention, then how much of the story is really going in anyway? But recently, as the stories are being reported more and people protest them taking place, I can't help thinking the outfits and makeup of these performers are really quite terrifying. I've been watching horror movies since I was a child. I know, disturbing. Rather demonic and overwhelming on the senses in my opinion. And to a child who may take that imagery home with them, mull it over and give it lots of thought without any real context or understanding is a potential concern. To me, anyway. Maybe not so much to others. The reason I have an issue with garish presentation specifically being aimed at cashing in on children's love of bright, sparkly, shiny, colourful things is because it's been used before for nefarious purposes. John Wayne Gacy. He was a serial killer in the 70s who killed lots of young men. And one of his side hobbies was being part of a clown club, which gained him the name Killer Clown. But he didn't kill as a clown. Interesting though, is what he had said about why he enjoyed being a clown. Acting as a clown allowed him to regress into childhood. That is why it's on this list. It. We should all know this clown Pennywise, either the original, to which I refer, or the remake, or the book. An awful and very scary depiction of a clown in full demonic mode, enticing a child with a red balloon. Honestly, I thought about little Georgie for a long time after that. McDonald's. Yes, the fast food chain, whose main advertising tool was a clown. Weird really for food, and food that has turned out to be not the healthiest. A slight leap from serial killers to bad nutrition, but neither are in the future interests of the child. Gratification and profit seems to be heading the wheels of these machines. Child catcher, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Need I say more? Possibly not, but I will. Lollipops and music to lure the children into a cage. Hansel and Gretel, a gingerbread house and sweets to lure them in. Pied Piper of Hamelin, music and dance to get the children to follow and be led to their abduction. The last two may be fairy tales, but I believe there is always a thread of truth running through them too, as with movies and stories that remain with us. All of these things highlight a child's tendency, and some adults too, to have their attention taken with something that seems bright and bouncy, but without knowing what is really going on. I don't fully understand the need to expose school-aged children from nursery to secondary school to drag acts. I've read an account of a private school in the States that had a drag act sprung on them in church service. Heels and sequins parading up and down the aisle. For what purpose I cannot imagine. Why is it that we have a niche part of the adult entertainment industry suddenly being inserted into educational environments, religion, and everyday society and events? It's baffling to me. What is also baffling is how women have been slagged off and vilified for years for wearing heavy makeup and what some consider to be inappropriate clothing. But now it's men doing it. That's fine, and we just clap and say well done. I really don't get it. She's a slapper or a prostitute for wearing that, but he's a hero. Am I the only one thinking what the actual fuck is going on here? Are we actually in the Twilight Zone? Maybe it is just me that sees the overdoing of the outfits and makeup as a cover for something. Whether they are hiding from themselves or something darker, that remains to be seen. But having to outwardly express yourself in such a garish manner means you are compensating for something, in my view. Why aren't you comfortable as you? Why the extra razzle and dazzle? I just see painted faces and outfits pretending to be something, rather than it being an expression of self. I think I must be missing their whole point. How can you ever be you if you are trying to be something or someone else?